Hello and welcome to History 4990. This is the Spring 2026 internship class. I'm Dr. McDonald, the professor for the class, and we're going to go over in this short video a little bit of orientation as far as the Moodle shell, where to find everything, the syllabus, the course expectations, so on and so forth. This class is pretty straightforward, and you should know the requirements ahead of time because to register for it, to get the permit, you had to complete the internship agreement form. So I should have that from everybody. But essentially what I want to do here is just go over the requirements of the class in the same way as if we were sitting in a classroom together talking about it. So it's going to be showing a little bit of Moodle, the syllabus, and some of the documents you're going to have to complete in the course of the semester. Obviously, you are going to be completing a 100-hour internship. We don't want that to take place over 3 weeks. We want that to take place over the course of about 12 weeks. So you have assignments on either end of your internship. If you can average about 8 hours over those 12 weeks, 12 eighths or 96, you're pretty close. Now, you're going to be completing timesheets, talking about not only the hours and the days that you worked, but also you're going to be completing some detailed information about what you did during that time. And all that we will cover in the course of this intro video. So let's click over to the syllabus. My information is here. I'm in Kaiser Hall when I'm on campus, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually before my 11 o'clock class. If you want to reach me, you can use email. That's fine. If you want to have a phone conference and video conference, that's up to you. But I'm guessing most of you will choose to communicate that way. Get the email address right because you need to send me every week your weekly reports as you complete the hours. Okay. The course objectives, and I'm not going to read you the syllabus, so they are right there. There is no textbook for the course. Anything that I have to link up on Moodle, I will tell you about. For the most part, you're going to be completing the hours along with requirements and assignments. You need to do the site description. So after you're registered for the class, you've done the internship agreement. The next thing to do, and that's there in Moodle, we'll look at it in a minute, is the site description. And all of these can be saved as a Word or PDF document. And then when they are due, they're due to just be emailed to me. So there's no kind of Dropbox or anything like that. There's going to be a reflection assignment that's at the end of the semester that you can answer right there in Moodle. But as you can see, the completion of the hours, meaning that you complete the 100 hours, constitutes a good portion of your class grade, along with the evaluation by your supervisor and the completion of your weekly reports. So working the hours is great, but you also have to, document completing the hours. So as the syllabus states here, and I'll say a few things, you are a representative, obviously, of yourself, but also of NSU and this particular department. So you should treat this as a job. You need to have attendance. You need to complete the assignments. And when you agree with your supervisor to work a given number of hours at a given day, days during the week, there's an expectation that you will get them done. It's not a free-for-all. You need to complete your weekly assignments when they are due. If you work, for example, over a weekend, I'm not a super stickler for detail. I mean, I'm going to say on the syllabus and in Moodle that these timesheets, if you want to call them that, are due on Friday. But if you're working from Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, if you turn them in the following Monday, that's fine. That's okay. But my biggest concern is that that we went out into the community, you went out into the community, and you got folks to supervise your internship. They will continue to do that going forward with other students at the place where you are working, that you are being an intern. They will continue to do that for as long as they know the NSU students are good and reliable. If they're not, you're going to torpedo your chances in the class, but also going forward. So we want to make sure that we have the ability going forward of other students at NSU in our department to go out there and have good relationships with different areas of the community. So that's just something that for me is the biggest lesson out of all of this. Yes, you want to complete the assignments. Yes, you want to show up to work, but we want to go forward and make sure that in the future, uh, not only you had a good experience in the internship in what you did, but where you worked, the Sports Hall of Fame, NCPTT, the archives, Cane River, Melrose, everything that you do, the Creole Center. Every one of those folks is happy with the student who worked there. So again, keep that in mind. Again, I'm not going to read all the way through the syllabus. I just want to emphasize some things. The assignments, your grade is right there, how you get your grade, but the assignments are essentially spelled out here. You have a site description, and I want you to be detailed with this. You're going to get graded. You know, it's not simply, oh, I turned in all my weekly reports, but if you simply write the time and days that you completed and didn't go into any detail, again, that's not going to help your overall grade. And when we look at the forms, and we will, this will make a little bit more sense. So the description is your first assignment, your internship hours, your weekly reports. You have an end of the semester reflection assignment. You see it a lot in different classes around the campus. It's a good way for us also to measure and evaluate the reactions students have had to the experience. So that would apply to this class. That would apply to the historical methods class if you had chosen that one. There's going to be a reflection assignment. So it's kind of the what I learned through this experience. But again, that's at the end of the semester. And then you have a supervisor evaluation. It's part of your grade. So again, make sure you show up, you're reliable, and I will be checking on these things. This is a small class, and the folks who are the supervisors I know personally. So once again, you know, take advantage of this opportunity. It's a fairly new one that for the most part, we used to just put everybody into the methods class. That's 12 to 15 page paper. But for those of you who think this would serve you better, we opened this up a few years ago as an alternative. And I think it's done well so far. So let's continue that. This semester, I'm excited that we have a significant number of students. Last fall, we had none in the internship class, which is fine. It's just the way it kind of works out. And now in the spring, we have, hopefully would be about a half dozen. And that's great. And we can now kind of add that to the number of places that folks have worked. So going forward, we're just going to look here at the course calendar, I guess. You're going to, in the first week, make sure that you're clear on your work schedule with your supervisor when you're going to come in. Again, I don't want you to work 3 30-hour weeks. I want you to space this out. You have other responsibilities, other classes, maybe other jobs. You have your own well-being to consider, free time, and everything else that you need to survive a college semester. And so balance is the key. So balance all of this. And an 8-hour work week is not, I don't think, particularly demanding. And on the beginning and the end of the semester, you're not working your hours just yet. If you want to get a jump on that, that's fine. I really don't want you to complete all your hours in 4 weeks. So please work with your supervisor to make that clear. They've all have a copy of the syllabus and along with a copy of the internship agreement form. So they know going in as well what to expect. Okay, so essentially you spend most of your time doing weekly reports. You'll have a mid-semester report. It looks a little bit different. These are all, by the way, linked in Moodle. I mean, you can see, use the same form because basically, again and again, it's the same form, but you're going to just submit it by emailing it to me. We have, towards the end of the semester, you should, by the end of April, finish up your hours. And then the last week, you have a reflection assignment. And then at the end, kind of instead of a final exam, I'm going to send to your supervisor an evaluation. And that'll come back to me, not you. And then it just is based on their evaluation, going to be part of your grade. Okay, so let's go back to Moodle. The university policies for the spring 2026 are all here with information that you might need. We also have the public history internship agreement form. Again, I think all of you have done that because you're all registered for the class. Week 2, you have your site description form. I'm going to click on it just to open it up, show you what it looks like. Okay. And you can expand this, fill this all out, save it, and then send it back to me. Hopefully this won't close everything out. Nope, it doesn't. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So there's your site description form. For the most part, you're going to be working with this document, the weekly report, and it looks like this. Please fill all of this out. I know it's like every week. Yeah, every week. Just, you can have a template, right? And you can fill one out and then just change your hours. If you didn't work a particular day, you don't have to fill anything out. You can put the day of the week, January 12th, 13th, 14th, so on and so forth. And total this all up. I mean, you're going to send this to me. This is your primary task. And you can expand this, obviously, if you did a number of things. I want to actually hear about what you did in the course of a week. This is just not for, fun to fill this out. And oftentimes, if students don't do as well, again, it's part of your grade. So if students don't do very well with their weekly reports, either by not turning them in on time, not working the hours, often it's, I filed stuff, a little bit more descriptive than that. What task did you have? What were you given by your supervisor? What was the most interesting thing that you learned? Again, I'd like to, if you're working in a certain collection in the archives, if you're completing a project, the Creole Center, if you're giving something to do, long-term semester project-wise, week to week, what are you doing with it? So essentially, that's where you go to complete those. Okay. As we go back to the Moodle shell. So these will all be open as we go along. These are your weekly reports. You have a mid-semester. It looks a little bit different than the other ones, but the same submission idea. And then we get towards the end, and you're really going to have 12 or so of these reports. If you need to work an extra week because you haven't gotten your 100 hours, that's fine. Just submit another one to me. But the last week we have a reflection assignment that's due, and that can be done right here. You can click on that and once again return it to me. There'll be an assignment listed in this Word document. So just fill it out and tell me what you did during the course of the semester, what was good and beneficial. The evaluation form is here, but I'll send it directly to your supervisor because their information is in your agreement form. So very straightforward. It is structured. I mean, we don't have typical assignments like you would in another class. We don't have class meetings. We don't have a textbook and a lot of readings to do, but you get the idea. Essentially, you're going to be working those hours. You're going to be completing the tasks and in detail talking about them in both your first site agreement and then in your weekly reports. So get started. If you have any questions, concerns, or problems in the course of the semester, please don't hesitate to contact me. Don't disappear if you have trouble getting stuff done, and have a good spring.